Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about something a little bit different, but maybe it's the same. Is it really different? Well, is it worth the upgrade? Now, a lot of these companies, X-Transbots, DX9 most recently, but we've seen it with Takara, have put out a figure and then they put different colorations, but then they put out a more or less upgraded one that we would all pick first choice. Maybe not all of us, but I know I would have. Is it just nature of the business? Is it nature of the beast? Is it just giving the consumer what they want? Is it just taking the feedback and saying, well, we're going to give you what you want and make you happy in the long run? Or is it like Takara, who shifted the market from sort of real world to sort of toon, maybe too tuned to a detriment? We'll talk about this and more. My thoughts on all these, because every one of these scenarios is a little bit different. Coming up. So Takara did this back in the day. They would release a version of a figure and then put out repaints down the road. But it's usually repaints for different colors, like the Lamborghini's got black and all of those up to G, gold. I think G was gold. And they named them different letters and stuff. But like Wheeljack got the Plus. The Plus didn't come for about 8 or 9 years, though. That's a big difference than what's going on right now. It's not the greatest pictures in the world because they're just screenshots of my own video, and it's a really old video. But I have to say that I still like the Plus. I'm still on the two-tune for to a detriment side of things. Although I will say that the original releases were all still pretty nice. So they weren't really that bad. And I love this picture. Aside from the resolution, I like that you can see all of what was going on in the past in the back, and then the new stuff in the front for the Plus. I did review all the Plus stuff that I have, and it was a fun time. It was a fun time, but you can look at this, including the Sideswipe, and see. You can see with the Sideswipe right there that they made a lot of these changes at DX9 did. DX9. All right, so what's the deal with DX9? This situation here is that they put out a really good Sideswipe, and I love it. It's fantastic. And I really don't have any issue with it other than the fact that in the alt mode, you can kind of see the junk going up front. We'll see that here in a second. But this picture's not that great either. The feet were kind of a shiny silver. Now they're going to be white. And then something about the coloration of the arms and legs and torso are going to be a little bit different. Changing out the glass, I don't really see a huge difference there. Getting into the alt mode, I still don't see a huge difference in the glass color. I mean, the headlights look a little bit different, but the windshields look almost the same. I don't see that big of a difference. And here's where I stand on this. I'm happy with what I have. I have no urge. It is not worth the upgrade. And I got mine, I think, 71. Now they're wanting closer to 80 for this, which isn't a huge deal, but it is a deal. It is a thing. And then they're showing the back. So the first edition had black on the rear, and now it's all red, which I think it looks nicer. And here's the thing, if I was going to display it in alt mode at all, I would probably just go with the second edition. Just pick up the second edition, and guess what? Not transform it, right? Just keep it in the alt mode. So there you go. But yeah, it looks good either way. The way I stand on it, I'm happy with the one I have, and I'm reserving the opportunity to maybe buy an X-Transbots version of Sideswipe, a Fans Toys version of Sideswipe down the road, not getting a second one of these. And with that, I think there will be some first edition ones being fire sold for like $50 on eBay when the second edition starts showing up. I'm just saying it's history repeating itself, but instead of 9 years apart, it was just only a few months apart, which is crazy. But that's just what happened. And you see this right here with the Plus version of Takara Sideswipe. So now we get into what X-Transbots is doing with this same thing. Same exact thing. Well, it's actually slightly different, but once you've got the tooling, you've got the mold, you want to make it as often as you can, and I'm okay with that. I understand that. They make all the different colors of the Omnibots, and like, what else are they going to do with those molds? When it comes to this Ultra Magnus here, they did the first run, and then they did the second run. The first one had a problem with when you turn the arm at the shoulder, it unscrewed the screw inside, and then people weren't able to screw the screw back in. I think that's what the problem was. I don't have a problem with mine. Mine's still fine. I love the little voice box on it. I play with it a lot more because it's in my review space. But on the left is the picture I took off of the listing, the actual X-Transbots picture of the original, and on the right is the new metallic one. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to get all the verbiage correct on this one, but it is a good-looking figure. I would prefer the newer one on the right. Now, in hand, the blues look a lot closer than what these pictures are depicting, but I would definitely prefer to get the newer one. The problem is that I really feel like there's only like a 7 or 6% difference. You already have a gloss to the first one. It's just going to be a little bit glossier, a little bit shinier, to call it metallic. Maybe a bit of a deeper blue, but the one on the left almost looks like the youth version, but I got a picture of the youth version. So here's the youth version. You know it's the youth version because it has the red on the inside. It's the teal like the original toy, and they did this. So what they first did was they put the first one out, then they did the toy inspired one, then they put the same one out again except fixed the shoulder, and then now they're putting out the metallic. But they're also doing the Delta Magnus run as an exclusive somewhere. I forgot even where that's at, but I'm not into that either. I'm just perfectly fine with the 4 Ultra Magnuses I have or something along those lines. But this is the toy one, and what I don't get is, will they put this back out with the metallic, because so many people still want this? It's really interesting because the toy look kind of looks good. It's more of a nostalgia play, though. Now, Friday's for Masterpiece, and New Age is not Masterpiece. Although they do have a couple offerings out there, they don't do this with their Masterpiece. And since it's Legends, they put their figures out. This is their Cyclonus, which now has like 7 or 8 different variations. But it's kind of cool that they do it. But they generally roll them out at least 4, if not 6, within the first week of saying, these are the ones that are coming. Pick the one you want the most. I like that. If X-Transbots were to have done that, I would have picked the metallic over the standard one. But the standard one is still fine. Like, it's not worth the upgrade. And as we saw with the Galvatron, that New Age is putting out Galvatron again. Slightly different, slight variation. Is it worth the upgrade? No, the one I have is still fine. And with that, I think that they're all doing this for the same purpose. It's just an excuse to reissue it, but not to say it's the same one. Enter the good old Fans Toys. Fans Toys does this too, but they do it different, and there's another blurry picture. How's that picture blurry? They actually reissue their stuff, but it's years out. Like, this stuff has to be commanding $200 or $300 a figure on the secondary market before they bother with it, because of reasons, I guess. And that does make sense. If you can go get something for $50 over MSRP, and instead of a $100 figure, it's $150, then why would they want to reissue it? Why would they go through the trouble of reissuing it? And it just doesn't make sense business-wise. But if it's costing $300, it makes sense to reissue it, and of course they check the price up. Now, in the case of these bugs, they did actually make some changes and alterations to them. Small, tiny little changes, like where the positioning of was a locking lever on a shoulder piece. Not a big deal. No big deal at all. But I'm just saying they did make some improvements as they went. Of course, these were 7 years apart from the original to the reissue. Now, there could be a lot of different examples of what Fans Toys did, like with their Quietus T, with their movie version of their Galvatron, now their 2.0 Galvatron. Try to kind of keep this in the same scope, and since it's a hot button now still, with the X-Transbots putting out their metallic version of Ultra Magnus. Fans Toys, will they reissue this and do something different? Well, I don't see them doing a metallic because it already has a metallic paint job, the way I wanted it in the first place. They delivered what I wanted in the first place. The other thing is, I wanted bought inside of armor. Some people don't want that, I understand that. But see, when it comes to this, the only other iterations that they would possibly do, which I don't even know if they will, but they would possibly do, would be, of course, getting the Delta Magnus, which is an option, but the toy version, and I can see them doing that. I could see them at least doing the toy. We saw this already with the Triple Changers, with, I think both of the Triple Changers, yes, got that. And we saw it with their Galvatron 1.0. But will they do that? Will they make this toy? Will they do the Delta? Nobody knows, but it would make perfectly good sense. But still, no reason to have to upgrade from their first one unless they reissue it 7 years from now. Now, this I find to be very relevant to the topic, and that is, how come we don't see companies clamoring to do upgrades of Seekers, which would just simply turn it into a Conehead? Slight alterations to turn them into Coneheads. How come Takara hasn't done it? How come we know that there's a KO company they're doing a fine job, just they're not out yet. I'm waiting for them to come out, but I'm not a huge hurry or anything, because I do have the Make toys. But I really wish somebody would pick up where the Deformation Space left off, because I think Deformation Space is hands down the best. But they are a little chalky. I'd like a metallic version of the Deformation Space figures that would have a better paint job, more along the lines of kind of where Takara was. Maybe on the lines of what Fans Toys would do. I'd be down for rebuying all the Deformation Space ones if they'd come out with that metallic. And of course, if they made them with Coneheads, I'd never need another set of Coneheads ever again. Now, Make Toys does this with their Seekers, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably going to offend a few people. The mold is older, and it's starting to show its age, and there's better options out there. Is it bad? No. If you have this on your shelf and you love what they're doing, you have all 15 colors, then I'm going to be honest, you're probably never going to find another company that's going to make the number of Seeker colors that Make Toys has. I just don't think that the mold warrants $200 every time they come out. They think of a new color and call it something else. But it's impressive that they're doing it. It's almost exhausting, though, that every TFCon there's a new color, and the fact that they want $200. And they look good, though. I don't really think they have like a metallic paint job to them, but they do have a bit of a shiny sheen to at least the ones I have. But anyhow, this is taking it to the extreme. Can throw some more lyrics out there, but I don't want to call anyone a chump or anything. Okay, Vanilla Ice says, to the extreme, wax a chump like a candle. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I do have hope, though, that Takara will reissue their, what I still think is the best mold for Shockwave, and it's their laser. But the Plus version, of course, it's a deeper, darker purple, and the box is going to be sideways instead of vertical. Don't get vertical with dude. It's a horizontal box for the Plus and the deeper, darker purple. Problem with Takara is they're not really caring about Masterpiece. They're doing chuggish, ruggish to the bone. If you know what I mean. So I'm curious what you guys think. Is it worth an upgrade? Is the DX9 worth an upgrade? If you got the first one, are you fiending for the second one? Are you happy with what you buy? Will the second one sit on the market for a long time because it's too tuned to a detriment? I like the silver feet. I mean, the white feet are okay too. I like both of them just fine. Curious what you think. I'm not dropping $80 to swap it out. That makes no sense to me. But let me know in the comments below. Chime in on this one. Tell you to hang around.